You ever wish you could just get a peek at what's coming? Or maybe go back and fix one little mistake from your past? Yeah, that desire to navigate time, to feel like we're in control of our own destiny, it's one of the most powerful and universal human dreams. Today, we're going to dig into two very different ways we try to do just that.
You know, we think of time travel as this huge, grand adventure, but our stories about it are almost always cautionary tales. Take Ray Bradbury's classic, A Sound of Thunder. A time traveler goes back to the age of dinosaurs and makes one tiny mistake. He crushes a butterfly. And get this, that single misstep is enough to completely warp his present-day reality. It's a really powerful warning that trying to change the past is just riddled with consequences we could never see coming.
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? This deep-seated desire to control what's next. We see this obsession play out in a couple of very different places. First, you've got the wild world of fiction and time machines, and then you have the very real, practical world of strategy and planning. So let's explore how we've tried to master tomorrow, starting with our dreams.
All right, so first up, let's journey into the world of our imagination. You know, for more than 100 years, it hasn't been scientists shaping how we think about time. It's been the storytellers.
Okay, so check this out. Here we've got two foundational but totally different literary attempts to conquer time. In The Time Machine, H.G. Wells sends his scientist hurtling into the future, basically out of pure scientific curiosity. And what he finds? Well, it's a pretty chilling future for humanity. Then you've got Mark Twain sending his Connecticut Yankee backward in time, trying to fix the past with modern know-how. And, spoiler alert, it just leads to total chaos. Both are basically warnings, right? That meddling with time, forward or backward, is a seriously dangerous game.
So, this idea, this fascination, it doesn't just stay in books. Nope. It spills right over into the real world. And that can lead us down some pretty weird rabbit holes.
I mean, our desire to believe is so powerful. You get these stories like John Titor, this supposed soldier from a bleak future, or you see that famous photo of the time-traveling hipster, and for a second you just want it to be true, we really do. But when you actually start digging into these claims, they almost always crumble under pressure. They turn out to be, really clever hoaxes or just simple misunderstandings.
So, if actual time machines are just messy fantasies, full of paradoxes and probably not real, does that mean we just gave up? How do we actually try to take charge of what's coming? Well, here's the thing. We have built a kind of time machine. It just doesn't look anything like you'd imagine. It's not a machine of, gears and flashing lights. It's a machine built out of strategy and analysis.
And that brings us to a completely different, but as you'll see, a fascinatingly related way of thinking about the future. We're shifting gears now, from sci-fi to the world of business and financial planning, where the goal is exactly the same, to get a handle on tomorrow.
And this quote, it just nails the core of this new approach. The message is pretty simple, right? The tool we use to get to the future isn't some physical machine. It's practical planning. It's an investment. Just like the source says, it's how we make today's resources work for our future goals. See, it's all about building the future, not just hopping in a machine to visit it.
So let's be super clear about what we mean here. An investment, that's not just about money. It's about putting any resource to work today. Your capital, your time, your energy, all with a clear goal of making tomorrow better, more prosperous. In a very real sense, this is our time machine.
Okay, so if investment is the machine, what are the gears that make it run? Let's take a look at the practical tools people use to sift through data and hopefully create a more predictable future.
All right, I know this list looks a little, intense, but don't get hung up on the names. Just think of them as different lenses you can use to look at a problem. Numerical analysis? That's just about crunching the raw numbers. Real and complex analysis, they help you spot the hidden patterns and connections. And things like tensor and differential analysis, those help you model how things change over time, which is crucial for complex systems like, say, the stock market. The point isn't to guess, it's to use this whole mathematical toolkit to draw a blueprint for what could happen next. And look, this idea of deep analysis, it's a global thing. It's not just one culture. For instance, one of our sources from India says this, and I'll give you the translation. We analyze the market to find ways that will help you earn the best profit. It just goes to show this practical path to the future is always about doing the hard work, meticulous research. You find your opportunities not by zipping through time, but by studying the data that's right here, right now.
Okay, so let's pull these two worlds back together. On one hand, you've got the fictional time machine. On the other, the practical investment plan. They seem like polar opposites, right? But what do they both tell us about who we are and what we want?
It really all boils down to this. Both of these paths, they're fueled by the exact same human impulse, that deep need for control over our own destiny. The fictional path tries to get there with, brute force. Go back, change the past. But you risk total chaos and paradox. The practical path, though, it's focused on building the future through careful analysis and planning, which, of course, has its own set of financial and strategic risks. So, you've got two totally different methods, but they're both aiming for the exact same thing, a future that we get to design ourselves.
So when it's all said and done, the big question isn't really, will we ever invent a physical time machine? No, the real question is a lot more personal than that. How are you navigating your own timeline? Are you stuck looking at a past you can't change? Or are you using the tools you have right now, things like analysis, planning, investment, to actively build the future that you want? Which tools will you choose for your journey?